Dear learners, after looking naive forecasting, we understood that it has one limitation, that it does not really consider a spike, seasonality, and trend. One of the alternative method that can be used and might be better fit when we have certain seasonality or spike in demand is to use moving average method, as this method helps to smooth the spike demands in the past while calculating future forecasts. Let's talk about the basics of moving average forecast method before we go deeper into its practical use. Moving average forecasting method is widely used because it helps us to look beyond ups and downs that are observed in the demand. Let's talk about an important aspect in this session, which is the definition. A moving average forecast smooths short-term fluctuations by averaging demand over a fixed number of past periods. Again, a word fixed plays major role into determining the forecast calculations. A demand planner may use last 3 months' demand or maybe 6 months of past demand to conclude future forecast. And it totally depends on demand planner by considering past data and business nature. So in this method, instead of reacting to every small change, we focus on the overall pattern. Our next learning pointer is the formula of moving average method. The formula is forecast for the next period equals the sum of actual demand over the previous n periods divided by n. Here, n denotes the number of periods we chose. For example, imagine a laptop business where sales for the last 3 months were 480, 500, and 520 units. Then, if we are using a 3-month moving average, the forecast for the next month becomes 500 units. Let's now understand what data is required to calculate moving average forecasts. We only need historical demand and the number of periods, which makes this method easy to use even in simple Excel sheets. The key benefit of this method is that the moving average reduces random noise and gives a more stable forecast compared to the naive method. It is also simple to calculate and easy to explain to management. However, let's also understand the limitations. One of the limitations is when demand trends change quickly, this method reacts slowly because all past periods are treated equally, even if the recent demand might be more important. That's all about moving average method. I hope it's clear how this forecast actually works in real business. Now let's explore the practical example of moving average method. Dear learners, now after looking at the concept of moving average forecast, let's talk about calculations, because this is an important topic to understand for every business professional dealing with demand planning. Now let us understand how the moving average forecast actually works in a practical scenario. Let's assume we have historical demand for the last 12 months, starting from January 2021 till December 2021. And as we already know, historical demand simply means the quantity of a particular product, such as laptops, ordered by customers in a given time period. Our next learning pointer is calculating the forecast for January 2022. And remember, a forecast is nothing but an estimation of demand for a future period. Now, as we have seen, the formula for the moving average forecast is very straightforward. Forecast for the next period equals the sum of actual demand over the previous n periods divided by n. In our case, let's assume we are using a 3-month moving average, so our n becomes 3, which means we will consider the demand of October, November, and December 2021. Let's talk about the numbers now. Demand in December 2021 was 659 units. In November 2021, it was 896 units, and in October 2021, it was 772 units. When we add these 3 months together and divide the total by 3, the forecast for January 2022 comes out to be 776 units. This is our estimated laptop demand for January 2022. Now, you might be wondering what happens when we need to forecast February 2022 and the months after that. Since we don't yet have actual demand for January 2022, we technically treat the January forecast of 776 units as estimated demand. So, to calculate the forecast for February 2022, we take the average of January 2022 forecast, December 2021 demand, and November 2021 demand, which gives us approximately 777 units. Moving ahead, if we want to calculate the forecast for March 2022, we again use the most recent 3 periods by considering the estimated demand for January and February along with actual demand of December 2021, and this results in a forecast of around 737 units. This process continues for future months, and what you will notice here is that, unlike the naive method, the forecast does not remain constant. Instead, it smooths out sudden spikes and drops in demand, such as the high demand of 896 units in November and the lower demand of 659 units in December. This smoothing effect helps planners take more balanced decisions in real business situations. I hope it's clear how this forecast actually works in real business. Thank you, and stay tuned for next interesting sessions.